If you're growing a clothing or accessory business from the ground up, this is going to be perfect for you. In this video, I'll share the common reasons that clothing brands fail and what to do about it. Whether you're a mini fashion brand, launching a streetwear label, or doing private label, these tips will help you increase your chances of success. I want you to use this guide to build a successful clothing brand. I'm Trudi Roach, and I'm a fashion merchandiser and brand coach, and I help you grow your clothing and accessories business with product positioning, content, and sales strategies, so you never have to worry about where your next sales are coming from. And stick around to the end, where I share my most requested resource to help you build out the brand vision for your business that's simple and fast to use. So let's get into it. So the reason brands often fail is probably not what you think. I'm not going to talk about spreadsheets and revenue, profit and loss in this video, but there are some very subtle but important nuances that a lot of businesses miss out on, but that can really impact your overall success. So let's dive in. The first question to think about is, are you really a brand? Pieces on a website is fine to start. Putting a logo on a hat or a sweatshirt as you're starting out, that's just fine. But having products on a website with a few logos does not make you a fully formed brand. You really need to build out your brand's own DNA. So how do you recommend for clients and small businesses that I work with is to build out your own brand mood board. So oftentimes designers and creatives do this for their actual product, but I like to back up one more step and build out the brand mood board for your business. So this would really have all the things that inspire you in your brand's DNA. So whether that's colors, logos, type that you might use, what your website style is, but also breaking it down and getting into product styles. And you can use swipes or images out there from the marketplace, other brands that you admire or aspire to, that you're going to bundle together and create a unique vision for your business. A customer profile. So we talked about in other videos that ideal customer, but this is a great way to bring that customer to life and kind of get the vision out of your head and down onto a board or onto a digital mood board where you can really think about that customer's lifestyle, what they wear, where they like to go, their wardrobe needs, but also think about fabrics, colors, price points as well, and some of the core pieces that they might want in their wardrobe, in their accessory collection, so that you inside the customer's head and build out this kind of vision for your business. And that does a fantastic job with building out the DNA for their customer. So even the model, in this case, looks like the founder, and the wardrobe really looks like one cohesive collection, and it looks like one girl's wardrobe. So everything really sits together. The price points are consistent, the color palette is consistent, the style mood is very consistent, and you can really, if you had to sum up this sort of French girl meets LA style, everything that happens in this brand really fits that DNA. So think about how you can create something like this, something as iconic and recognizable, and it's going to be unique for your own clothing or accessory business. In lieu of actually creating their own brand DNA, is they overbrand all of their product and everything they do in their business. So this can look like overuse of logos, using logos that are too big, too colorful all the time and on all the product. Not create an identifiable brand. It actually detracts from your brand. It can look a little cheap, it can look a little unsophisticated. Even if you're a bold and poppy brand and logo is your thing, there needs to be some measured restraint. And fashion industry, this is often a conversation that requires a lot of back and forth with designers and design teams. And as a merchandiser, someone who's really, my job was always to make sure the product was positioned to sell out in the market at certain price tiers. Using logo with restraint was very, very important. It's always a critical choice. So even brands like Ralph Lauren that lead with logo, They use the logo in a restrained way, and they're very thoughtful and careful. Even when it's the giant polo pony, it's used with a lot of thought, and they don't put the giant polo pony on everything all the time. So it shows up on certain items, it shows up in certain colorways, and it's meant to signify certain moments within the collection and the brand. Is part of your brand story. Your logo is not your entire brand. And if you keep that in mind, you will successfully navigate the logo space. Fail is because they don't have essential pieces in their collection. And it does not matter if you are a high-end brand like Gucci or an opening price point brand like an H&M or a Uniqlo. Having essential pieces within your assortment, within your collection, on your website, having more pieces on offer to your audience, however you reach your audience, is key to ensuring that you're setting your business up for success. I think of this sort of like bread and butter. When we were in the industry, we called it the bread and butter of your business. So these are the basics. Basics look different for every brand. You might think of a capsule wardrobe or a Gap brand, and maybe basics at the Gap are t-shirts. At Ralph Lauren, a basic is a polo shirt. At Tory Burch, a basic is the little skimmer with the logo tab on the front. So a basic can look different for every brand, so don't feel pigeonholed into something specific. But it's important that you figure out what is going to be an essential or basic piece in your business. Something that is a really appetizing price point for your consumer, often an entry price point, an easy purchase for your consumer. Something that they're going to come back to again and again, season after season. So you're going to almost ensure your repeat purchases. Going to be at a very specific price point within your business. Doesn't have to be cheap or inexpensive, but it does need to sit on the lower end of your price range to make it an easy purchase. Basics in every category. So if you are a streetwear brand, for example, you might have a basic sneaker, you might have a basic t-shirt, you might have a basic hoodie or an essential hoodie. You might have an essential tank dress or an essential ankle pant. So the categories necessarily matter, but once you've got that customer DNA, you're going to know what the wardrobe requires, what your customer wears. So think about what would be the essentials in that mix. And it might not be a bad idea to go back to your mood board and DNA and your customer is and pinpoint some of those essentials right on your DNA board. Brand colors is another reason that brands can run into trouble. Everywhere as backgrounds, logos, t-shirts, fonts, all the things can really be overwhelming. It's not a very subtle way to get your brand message across. And if you remember about all of the pieces that go into expressing your full brand DNA, so you don't have to be heavy-handed with your use of color. Keep it subtle. Less is usually more. And it's usually safe to use your colors against a white background or black background if that's more along the lines of your kind of vibe of your brand, but to use them sparingly. So fall back on black and white and then use little touches of your brand colors. So think the same way as you use logo in a restrained and sparing way, think about using color that way too. Easily and simply be wrapped up in creating a brand deck for your company, for your business. This is a really small version of the mood board. So all of those elements that we spoke about, the logo, colors, fonts, examples of the mood and voice of your brand, so the tone that your marketing and communications sounds like. Is it sort of like girl boss tone, or does it have a more hard-hitting tone? Is it formal? Is it casual? What's the vibe of the language that you want to use in your brand? And you can actually put examples down of this and descriptions as well in your brand deck. Multi-million-dollar brands do this all the time. In fact, major corporations, public fashion companies, actually use a brand deck as one of the core foundations of their business. And this is shared throughout the corporation. Marketing teams, even sales teams, licensing teams use the brand deck to share those messages out with the licensed partners And when I was with Perry Ellis, we did this as well. The design and merchandising team worked with the licensing team to make sure those brand messages, the brand DNA, was crystal clear and easy to communicate across all channels. You've created your brand deck, it's really going to become your North Star. It's going to become this guidepost that you can feel really comfortable about referring back to, not only when you're designing product, but also when you're speaking about your business with everyone that you come in contact with, whether that's your customer, whether that's your virtual assistant that's helping you with creation. That you do should really track back to your brand deck. And once you've created it, even if you're a small business and you're just starting out, can be a really great live document that you can have live with you in your office, put it on your wall, keep it close by, put it on your iPad, digital notes, and just feel comfortable and refer back to it as often as you can, and it will really help you build out this cohesive message. Let me know in the comments if your business has a mood board or a brand deck and how you use it in your design and development process. One of the things that it's very easy to lose track of is how to plan your collection. So this is often one of the missing pieces that really gets brands into trouble. So it's easy to have lots of ideas and want to launch lots of great things, but if you're not planning your collection in a strategic way, it can be very, very easy to get off track in terms of that brand messaging, the key styles that you need for the season, the styles that are going to be important to your customers, and all of the other things that reflect your brand DNA. Sometimes in new businesses, it's easy to chase trends, and one of the things that I've learned from working in corporate is that a little bit of trend, we talk trends up in a big, big way, but that's part of the business. In truth, trend plays a very small part of the mix in overall product planning and in execution. So an example of this might be, there might be trending colors that you would apply to your best-selling essential pieces that we talked about a little bit earlier. So you've got a tried and true proven track record on something that's selling and your customer likes it and it's essential to your business, and then adding a little bit of trend or color on top of that. Don't have to launch everything at once. So plan out your products in small drops. Don't try and flood your audience with lots of things and then think that that's going to really generate lots of sales. It for the most part, will overwhelm your audience unless your business is at a pretty giant scale. So the better plan is to try and launch small capsules, 2, 3, 4 pieces that have a cohesiveness. They don't duplicate each other. They might be able to be worn together. But that small capsule, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once every 2 months, has a little story and a message that's simple and cohesive to talk about to your customers. And that's going to allow you to message everything that you do really simply, really easily, and get that message across. So you can focus on messaging and marketing of these small capsules on a consistent basis. And I guarantee you, once you get the steps right or you get them dialed in for launching your small capsules, you're going to have the roadmap to create wins every time you launch. Launching small capsules and planning out your collection in this way is going to also let you read and react to the launch. So you're not going to have your customers' feedback spread across multiple products or many products. You're going to be able to launch a few styles and figure out where there's a good response and then learn from that and go forward with just those recommendations. The toughest things to tackle as a small business is brand photography, and this is an area that can often trip up new businesses. When you're just starting out or you don't have a lot of money to spend on photography, it's okay to use a point-and-shoot camera or even an iPhone. But the main thing is you want to think about what the end result is and what that shot is. You want to have nice, clean backgrounds for your product. You want to make sure that things look crisp and steamed and clean, so to get that really professional level of photography. And the actual shots need to make sense. So you're not going to shoot swimwear in a kid's daycare, and you're not going to shoot evening wear on the beach necessarily. Brands can get away with this, But again, there is a lot of money and polish that goes into creating those brand shoots. And bigger brands, when they take these kinds of risks with their photography, there's a lot of context already and brand DNA that comes with the choices that they're making, and often it's editorial, as well as sort of like iconic seasonal photography. Smaller businesses have a tougher time getting away with some of these tricks. So my recommendation would be to keep your photography really simple. And along those lines, I see often using friends and family, could be very cute friends and handsome friends, in their photography. My recommendation is to use professional models as soon as you're able. This is something that the tone of getting this right, often we can't see it ourselves, but when audience sees it, when your customer sees it, it doesn't always hit home the same way. It doesn't always resonate. So professional models should also fit your brand DNA. So you might want to put a pin in this right now and think about going and adding some model types, and they could be professional models that you kind of take swipes from or screenshots that are out there in the industry. Maybe they're not attainable to you right now, but the types of professional models that as soon as you can, you will use in your business. It's going to be really game-changing to kind of up the sophistication of everything you're doing with your photography. So essential for apparel companies, clothing companies, and also accessory companies. So if you're modeling on a person and you're not just using flat lay on your jewelry and accessories, it's also important to think about that person. Don't just kind of brush this off and just say, well, I'm only shooting someone's ear and chin. It's still really important to think about professional models as soon as you can. One thing that can hurt your business and increase your chance of not succeeding is to have bad marketing. Bad marketing, in broad terms, means that you would not have thought through what your campaign looks like. You've done all the work with your DNA, your central products, your photography, but you're not putting your work out there in a very consistent manner. It's important to plan a campaign out, to literally write it out or type it out, what you're going to do at any specific point in your launch or marketing campaign, sales campaign process. Think through all of the places you want to show up as a brand, how you're going to message the product, the important marketing messages around each piece, what's unique, different, is there any promotion, is there any discount sales, buy one, get one free, whatever that is, write it down, get it out of your head, put it on paper, make sure it all makes sense and matches, and assign a timeline to it. Sometimes it looks like a lot of marketing is organic and it just happens and flows, but I guarantee you this is a tightly orchestrated strategy and process. In the corporate world, every part of a launch and a product promotion is mapped out to the nth degree. So often in corporate fashion, we'd work at least a year out on any launch, putting in place all of the pieces in that marketing campaign, messaging, price points, any sale prices, and that is finely tuned out so that when the product hits the store shelves or the website, that marketing is going out at the right time in the right way. So make sure you can put that in place for your own business, and it's going to increase your chances of success. I get a lot of people reaching out to me on social media asking me to, as a product expert and a merchandiser, take a look at their feed and really give them product feedback. But often the thing that I find is that small businesses often push a lot of product directly at the customer. So it's almost the instinct that you want them to see everything because you don't want them to miss anything. You spent all this great time and energy developing your product and you want to get it out there. My recommendation is usually to take a shot of your own Instagram and put it next to that brand deck or mood board that you've created for your business. And try to look at it with a critical eye as a customer would. Are you seeing and hearing the full brand DNA, the full brand story? If you're looking at a wall of reels and Instagram posts that is all product, you're probably not getting a full brand story. Really needs to be some backstory there, behind the scenes, fit guides, style guides, a richer brand experience. Think about this from the customer's perspective, and that's why it's so important to use that brand deck and come back to it on an ongoing basis. Create a mix that keeps your customers coming back to you as a trusted resource for style guides, brand DNA, behind-the-scenes stories, anything that can share the message to your customer and give them a lot of value. So what are my key takeaways before I share that most requested resource? Do your research and focus on your brand stories. Focus on the details and your ideal customer, and make sure you're thinking about him or her, they or them in a complete way. But make sure you stay creative and trust your instinct as a brand owner. What's my most requested resource to help you develop the vision for your clothing and accessory business? I'm going to leave a link below, and you can grab that Create Your Mood Board training at the link below. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.